Hey everyone, welcome to Reddit Readout. Today we are checking out True Off My Chest. Story 1. Drinking. Hey. I just needed to tell someone, I haven't had an alcoholic beverage in 3 days. It might not seem like a lot, but for the past year or more I've had a drink every day. So I'm proud of myself and wanted to share. Story 2. My girlfriend doesn't understand that I have less disposable income than her even though I get paid more. My GF invited me onto a holiday with her family that they do every year. I agreed thinking we would be staying at a relative's. A month before she tells me the cost, $300. That's not our combined share, that's my share. It's a lot. It puts me out of putting money away this month, but it's our first holiday so I bite my tongue. We get there and her family wants lunch. We sit down and it's 10 for a sandwich. I ordered the cheapest food and drink I could. Came to 16. I think okay, I can just do this, and then she says, not asks, yeah, we are splitting the bill. Her stuff cost $27.85. I sat down with her after we got back to the hotel room and I explained that this is very expensive. She says I should be able to afford it because she can and I make $3K more than her a year. The thing is, she lives with her parents and her living costs are $200 a month. Mine is $1,000. I'm scraping by. We had a fight and went to bed. I'm now on the train back to my house. I feel like she doesn't understand that I am struggling financially and stuff like this kills me. I'm going to have to sell my PlayStation just to give me a safety net this month. Story 3. I'm vegetarian because I was too scared to get food poisoning from meat. I learned to cook for myself at 8 years old. I hated the family meals, so I started slow with pasta, stir-fries, sandwiches, risottos, the basics. At this time I wasn't vegetarian, but I didn't eat meat because I was terrified of cooking it wrong. You cook some broccoli wrong and it's mushy or hard, you cook chicken wrong and you're throwing up all night. I didn't like those odds. As I got older, that fear consumed me a tad. I never wanted to learn. I have anxiety and I thought I would do it wrong. I only ever ate meat if someone else prepared it. As time went on, I started to dislike meat altogether. I discovered vegetarianism and veganism and decided those lifestyles were more aligned with my views anyway. I don't like the mistreatment of animals and it was no skin off my back to continue to not eat meat. So that's just where I am now. I'm a pretty good chef and baker at this point, albeit self-taught and nowhere near professional levels. I love food I cook. Meat substitutes were quite a big thing for me. They've become quite popular recently as I didn't know they existed, except tofu, for quite a few years in the beginning. Absolute game changer for my dishes. People are always curious about why I'm vegetarian and I have to tell this story a lot. People have always been nice and respectful about my choices and I appreciate it. I can only return the favor to meat eaters. Do what you enjoy. Try some vegetarian dishes once in a while though, if you want. Story 4. My sister made a backhanded remark about my nose. So I, 32F, have been insecure about my nose since my early teens. It's always been my biggest insecurity. I always avoided people seeing my side profile and hardly took pictures. Mind you, I had never thought I had a big nose until someone pointed it out in middle school. Kids would bully me and it made me really self-conscious. In my college years, I had learned to love myself and my nose and hadn't cared about it or what other people thought about it. My insecurity had been a thing of the past until last night. Me and my sisters got together at my parents' and were looking through old pictures when we came across a picture of me and my side profile as a 5 maybe 6-year-old. My sister then says, "Your nose used to be so cute back then." Which brought me back to my past. Maybe I'm thinking too much of it, but it really hurt me since she also knows about my insecurity. I got caught off guard and am now feeling sick and insecure. I made nothing of the comment and didn't say much after, but I feel worse than ever. I really needed to share this, whether it was to an actual person or strangers on the internet. Might delete later. Thanks for reading. Story 5. Sick and still having people over for Christmas. I just want to scream. Edit. My wife finally told me I could go to bed because I have a fever and I can't pretend I'm okay anymore. She is right now trying to get them to leave, but as of right now they haven't left even though she has told them how we all feel. But I hope they will be leaving soon. We are sick. Me and my kids. My wife is started to feel bad. We usually host her family for Christmas. We was going to do that today too, but since we are sick my wife told them we couldn't. Then they suddenly said they don't care. That they could come anyways because they had already told their kids. So now they are here. My body is tired but my wife wants me to pretend everything is okay. One of my kids is in bed and has said she doesn't feel well. She just vomited in her room. I had to quietly clean it up to not make her family uncomfortable. My second kid has a headache and probably fever. I don't get why they had to insist to come. I get that my wife has never celebrated Christmas without her family, but this is ridiculous. I can barely eat because I don't feel well. I just want to scream. But I can't do anything or else everyone feels offended. Can't wait for this night to be over. Merry Christmas. Story 6. I've gotta stop extending the effort. I'm M26, relatively new to dating and courting game. Met this wonderful woman, we vibe on so many levels. I'm pretty smitten by her but she doesn't make the effort to try talk to me. It always feels like I have to reach out and make first contact. Don't get me wrong, when I do the conversation flows and we talk about everything, but why is it down to me to make first contact constantly? It makes me feel like she only talks to me out of pity or just 'cause I'm there. Then I tried bringing it up to her the other day and she says she doesn't have time to respond. Bitch, you talk to your friends on Snapchat all day, I know you see my messages. I know I'll lose this argument and I'll have to go crawling back because I like her too much to walk away, but I should really, out of respect for myself. Story 7. I dislike my mom. I'm saying dislike because it's the only word I can describe it. Since I was a kid she was absent, but not in the distant parent absent. My parents were together but she never paid attention to us. She was always worried about something else than us. Or me. She never knew what was going on with me or my life. She never stood up for me when my dad would make me stand there for hours and hours with no food because I couldn't multiply fractions. She cared about my brother though. She hated attending my games. She complained most of the time. We always argued and she often kicked me out and told me to get out her life. I said to myself, I'll grow out of this dislike and distance from my mom as I get older. Now I'm older with a good job, serious relationship, and my life is well and stable. I feel the same. I still clash with my mom, but even on good terms, the feeling of dislike and distance never went away. She isn't considerate of me. I'm saying me because if it was my younger brother it would be a different story. Maybe I just wanted the love my brother got, but it's too late. She gave me a severe anxiety attack from stress that landed me in the hospital and said I know it's not me. She kicked me out once because I stood up for myself. She's never apologized, never even said she loves me, she's never acknowledged any hurt she's caused me. I've never felt any type of love from her. All I see is an immature adult that is selfish. As I got older this feeling grew, all the things she did kept building up, no apology, no effort, no nothing. I don't feel bad. I needed to just let this out, since I'm sitting here with the biggest headache and the world is spinning due to stress, caused by the one and only. Story 8. My dad's 2 deaths. It was in 2015 that I found out my dad was cheating on my mom. It was the day that I got abused by my uncle and my dad had to fly in from another city to save me. That evening, after me having spent the better part of the night hiding in not the safest areas from my uncle, my dad and I checked into a hotel for the night. It's at this time he gets a call and speaks to the person on the other side with a loving tone I had heard him use only with me on occasion. I initially thought it was my mother and he was just trying to calm her down after what would have been for her too, a very traumatic experience. It's only when just as that thought crossed my mind did my mother call me. She has only one number. I knew then and there what was happening. I went back to boarding school the next morning, my only source of solace. After 6 months when I returned home, I found that father had stolen my poems to give his girlfriend. I was 15/16, he was a grown man and the woman had a child older than me. We lived in the same apartment complex. That was the day my father died. He was just a man I happened to share genetics with. It was in early 2018 that he was diagnosed with cancer. And he died in the January of 2019. In all this time my mother forced me to keep shut and not confront him. That saddest day of my life yet was the day he died. 'Cause I didn't get to hurt him. Be the first to comment. Nobody's responded to this post yet. Add your thoughts and get the conversation going. Story 9. Just dumped my boyfriend for fucking his sister. What the title says. That's it. I don't even have the damn energy to go into detail. I'm just pissed. I don't even have the energy to vent. Maybe tomorrow. Story 10. I, 23M, hate every single aspect of being alive. I hate my job. It pays well but it's a 9-to-5 office job. Office jobs are for losers and it makes me want to kill myself. I can't even quit because if I don't have the money from it, I can't buy stuff, and buying things is one of the only things that brings me any form of happiness. B. My dream job is borderline impossible and I'll be just as miserable at any job that isn't my dream one. I almost never see my friends besides on Xbox. So every day besides maybe once or twice a month, I do absolutely nothing but get stuck sitting around alone. I also don't have a girlfriend so I feel lonely, unloved, and ugly 24/7. I have absolutely nothing to live for and I've decided that next time I have an extra shitty day I'm pulling the trigger. Story 11. I find my sex toy at my friend's house and my underwear on his girlfriend. Well, this is traumatizing. All names are fake asterisk. I'm 18F, not actually close with this friend Mark, 19M, or his girlfriend Sandra, 18F, but we used to hang out occasionally last year when we were in the same high school. About Mark, I used to give violin lessons to his younger brother, and his parents paid me for it. Mark never confessed that he had feelings for me, even though all of his friends teased him about it. I asked him once if it was true, but he always denied it. This was before he got together with his girlfriend, and the teasing stopped over time. They asked me for a threesome 10 months before but I refused. I wasn't interested in that kind of thing, especially since I also had a relationship with my long-distance boyfriend that I love so much. A few days ago, I saw the two of them on the street. We greeted each other and started talking. I was on my way to do some shopping for a night with some classmates at my place. They asked if they could come too, and I said sure, as I didn't see a problem with it. Next day, they arrived and everything seemed normal. We played poker, talked, joked, and had a nice time until Mark took out his phone and started taking some pictures. No one had a problem with it, and I knew he always liked to capture moments or take pictures, so I didn't see anything wrong with it. However, I noticed his girlfriend's reaction when Mark pointed his phone towards me. She seemed to get angry, and I found it strange, but I ignored it. After a few minutes, I realized that he kept taking pictures, and they started arguing in their native language, which most of us did not understand except for one of our classmates who witnessed the whole argument. After they stopped, Mark said he was going to the kitchen to calm down because he had a headache, and she stayed in the room with us. Shortly after their argument, my friend who understood everything they were saying told me that something was very wrong and bizarre in their argument. She said that Sandra mentioned something about Mark having an obsession that involves pictures of me and how much she hates having sex with him because he always includes me. At this point, I was confused and shocked, so I went straight to the kitchen to talk to him because his girlfriend apparently left crying without him. He wasn't in the kitchen, and I found him in my room. He was rummaging through some drawers, so I asked him what he was doing there. He replied that he was looking for a charger, and I told him that he could have asked me instead of searching through my room without my permission. He apologized after I gave it to him, but I shut him down and demanded an explanation about the earlier conversation. At that moment, he get red and told me that my friend misunderstood and it wasn't about that. In the next few seconds, he left my place and blocked me everywhere. He took my charger too. Anyway, that was a bad move because in the next few days, I had violin lessons with his younger brother and had to go to his house. When I arrived, his younger brother opened the door for me, and it seemed like no one was home, but his mom sent me a text message saying that she would be back shortly and not to worry because his brother and his girlfriend were home. So, I minded my own business and started tutoring the little brother. After I finished, I went up the stairs to Mark's room and knocked on the door several times, asking for my charger. He opened the door and seemed shocked and embarrassed. He told me to wait and not to enter the room until he brought me the charger. However, apparently, his girlfriend walked out of the room wearing my underwear, greeted me, and it was a bit awkward. I thought to myself that maybe she had the same pair as me, and I was overthinking. Even though I hadn't found that pair of underwear, and I thought I had lost it. When she turned around, she had the same blue watercolor stain. I usually paint in a very comfy way, even if it means that I'm only in my underwear. Then something in me twitched, and I started to tell her about it and asked her about their recent argument at my house. To my surprise, she broke down crying and began confessing to me how emotionally attached she is to her boyfriend and cannot leave the relationship. Apparently, she told me that her boyfriend stole my underwear from the room along with my sex toy, which, by the way, I had seen in the corner of the room, but I thought I was overthinking it again because many people can have similar objects. But when I heard this, I felt sick to my stomach. She told me that the reason is that apparently he has a fetish from last year where he wants to include me in their sexual relationship, and every time they have sex, he calls her by my name and he put her to wear my underwear, and after he stole my sex toy he used it with her. Again, I felt like vomiting and I just told her to have some self-respect and to leave him. After hearing him come up, I grabbed my violin and left as fast as I could. I left a message for his mom telling her everything. When I got home, I received hundreds of messages and calls from other numbers where Mark left me paragraphs apologizing, then insulting me, then apologizing again. He said he didn't want to tell me the truth because he was embarrassed and insecure about my boyfriend and how he can't compare to him physically. It doesn't make sense to me, and I consider him a weird pervert. I blocked him everywhere, and I still do because he keeps making new accounts to contact me. Sorry for writing so much, but I needed to get this off my chest. I can't talk to anyone close to me about what happened because it would be too embarrassing, especially about the sex toy part. Edit, I think I'm not the only one that he traumatized. I just find out he sent weird messages to his exes. That's all for today. Please don't forget to like and subscribe.